the bottom left-hand corner of Inside and Out from Onside Gaming. He's your blue Zerg. His name is Solar.
Drum roll. He's got a big trophy there as well. With a Dutch flag on it. Was that a Dutch flag? Anyway, in the top right side, there is a red Terran. It's Mouse Esports Heromarine. I always want to say Team Big, but I
No, that's Showtime. That's Showtime.
I know. It's the other German. It's crazy how those things go.
How we wish that that Big Gabe was on Berlin International Gaming.
Yeah.
Would be entertaining, but yeah.
It's the Germans, man. I don't know why they haven't done that. Typical Germans.
Oh my!
Just won't do it.
Mouse Sports though have been supporting Gabe for really well for so long. It's awesome to see, and obviously, he's been finding some really great success recently. He's been playing extremely well, and he's always been a player that has some clinical control in TVT or in all matchups. Really, like his fundamentals are just so solid, and he really knows how to play this game. And it makes a joy to watch. And I think especially for Solar here, this should be a very interesting matchup in terms of if it goes, when it goes to the mid game. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a few late game scenarios where you're seeing ghosts come out. The Heromarine is very good in those situations.
Yeah, for sure. Solar can be quite a scary opponent as well. He does have some builds that allow him to come at you quite early on. I don't think that's necessarily where his strengths lie. Just bringing it out now and again can be quite a powerful thing. He is a player that's not that afraid of the Night Swim either. Definitely seen him pull that now and again. And perhaps on a server, right, like America, with a bit more ping, a play like that could be a bit more tempting for a player also. Just to kind of, if you think you have a shot at it, if you think you can make it work, then why not, right? Because once you're in, if it worked out, then is it a tough situation for Heromarine?
Yeah. And I like the openings here that we did end up seeing. I believe Heromarine went for that CC first. He's going for the very fast third command center, especially on a map like Inside and Out. You have that ramp up into your natural. It's a really big map, and so I think Heromarine just feels comfortable in assuming that Solar's going to play a pretty passive style, and that's absolutely true. Solar, he is a player that can pull out the really aggressive builds, but usually that's in a longer series is when he'll do that. When it's a best of 5 or a best of 7, that's when you'll see Solar start to pull out those more aggressive builds. Usually in just something where in like a best of 3 like this, he'll play a pretty standard, 3 base setup. Then he might start to get aggressive off those 3 bases, add on the 4th. But for now, I think this is just a good read by Heromarine, and I'm liking the setup that is going to allow him. I wouldn't be surprised if this is similar to the build that Clem did in the last game that we just saw, where he does end up going for the cloak alongside the Hellions, and there we go.
Yeah. With a very quick 3rd CC to boot, it should set him up nice and safely against a player such as Solar. Solar, of course, if he reads into this, he should be able to drone his way into Oblivion as well. And with his Overlord Scout coming in at a nice timing, I'm feeling confident about Solar right now. Or at least, the starting setups here. He's aware of what's happening against him, and well, it's not like he made any committals for anything else, but just, making a bunch of drones. Later down the line, he's going to make a Spore Crawler or 2, and just a good amount of Queens, and he should be perfectly fine.
Yeah. Hellions here going to try and knock down the Creep Tumors. Are going to get the first one, but can't dive in for the second, so that one will complete. And I mean, we saw in that last series, I think that's a good example of how you want to shut down the Ling Bane play, especially as the Terran is denying this creep spread. Is so important. Playing on 2 sides with the multi-prong pressure, making sure that the Zerg doesn't really have a lot of space to move away from their bases so that you have complete control over the map. These Hellions, that's really their main purpose right now, is clearing up creep, diving into a mineral line if that option is available, but mainly just the group. As Banshee is going to move on in, there is a Spore Crawler here, but you can sit just outside of range. Find the 2 drone kills. Nice hold position there by Heromarine. And is just going to back up and try and see if he can find another angle to get some damage with. But 1-1 on the way. Going up to, 2 more additional racks, and eventually this is going to mean that Heromarine will start to get aggressive here as, opening, trying to find his way into the drone line. Roasts up 6 already. Not a lot of lings here for Solar, so these lings should, or these Hellions should be able to get out without much trouble at all, and a nice little dive there by Heromarine.
Okay. Definitely put a bit of a dent in that economy for Solar here, but he did make enough drones to be alright regardless for the time being. Alright, definitely more than he would have liked to lose. It's gonna be difficult for him to really just be set up on that super dominant amount of Zergling Baneling, But I feel like he should still be able to make it work overall. He's still got a good shot here.
Yeah, and Solar's a player that I don't think he'll stick on the Lingbane for too long, like we kind of saw there against with Lambo versus Clem. Especially because I don't know if Gabe is going to necessarily be make the game as scrappy as that was. Clem was constant pressure, constant attacks. I definitely feel like Heromarine sets up his plays a little bit more. Yeah. Likes to have them be kind of organized and set up and kind of understand everything as it's going down. And so, yeah, Solar already getting up the Hydralisk Den. He doesn't even want to really stick on the just the straight up Lingbane. And so he will have that option available. Muscular Augments coming through. And overall, as you said, it's just a nice setup for both these players. Heromarine is eventually going to start to find a move out. Has the 1-1. Has the combat shields coming through. So we'll have these upgrade advantages over the Zerg. Has to be careful, though. Don't want to take the fight beforehand and does just back up.
Gets himself out of there. Nice and clean. And just sets up for later engagements again. And yeah, I like the way you described the kind of the difference between Heromarine and Clem, with Heromarine being a bit more of a setting up. Clem would be, across the map with some Widow Mines here in the corner, and then on the other side, more Marines with medevacs, a medevac with more Marines somewhere in another corner near bases. Yeah. But it does kind of show as well that perhaps with the less busyness that Heromarine is providing Solar with, that it could be a bit of an easier time for Solar here to initiate counterattacks as well.
Yeah.
Run by Slings and Banes, yeah.
We already have the Hydrals coming out as well, so you're going to have a bit more range to this army. You're going to have the Hydras that can shoot over top the Zerglings. And with Group Spines coming in, you'll have that range. Just a nice little augment to the army. Of course, it also allows you to deny the medevacs. The Terran just really can't be as aggressive when there is that anti-air threat. You saw, Clem, he was able to just constantly dive into bases and then pick up and get out because there was no anti-air for a laser. And so that means that now, Heromarine does have to be a bit more careful. Finally going to push on to creep here. Has a few Hellbats with this army. He's going to try and use them to soak up the Banelings. There's a lot of Banelings here, though. Solar doesn't like that initial engagement, though. Is just going to back up. Says, yeah, I don't like that angle. Now going to go back in as the Marines clump up and find some really good connections onto the Marines of Heromarine. And Solar finds the engagement to clean up the attack.
Yeah, pushes it back quite a bit. Still a formidable amount of Marines, however, available as Heromarine re-enters the area of creep. Just trying to take down as many creep tumors as possible on his way over before more Banelings are morphed. It looks like the only 10 Banelings actually available right now are within those cocoons, and the Marines quite close. Hydras and Queens pulled out, ready to defend. And once again, we will see a pull away here.
The Hydra's doing just enough, providing enough support to be able to knock back a lot of that attack from Heromarine. Still, though, Heromarine did a good job of repeating and just making sure to keep as many units alive as possible while finding those trades. Mind you, this is pretty... I'm not going to say all in, but it's a lot of pressure coming out from Heromarine. This is, I believe, 8 racks back at home off these 3 bases. It is the build that is meant to just constantly pressure your opponent from one angle and try and force your way through. Heromarine is going to split off a few units, though, to try and hit another location, as he now has enough that he can do that. So we'll see how this turns out. Second factory on the way. Actually, it might just be... Is it still just 5 racks off of this? No, there we go, yeah. 8 racks, 13 Marines at a time.
Yeah.
Plus 1 vehicle weapons on the way, plus 3 also started up. That small little group is going to be prevented.
The 3 base is kind of what's concerning to me here, with Solar already on 5 base, right? This is where you can really have that Zerg overwhelming effect sometimes. As he is approaching maxed out, he's going to be able to start banking already.
Yeah. Gabe looking for the setup now, adding on a tank. I mean, splash damage is really needed. You know, the Widow Mines especially can help throw these fights a little bit out of whack for the Zerg when they're trying to figure out how they need to engage it. But with just a single tank, it's a little bit more straightforward. You can split up the Banelings a little bit, but you don't need to worry about having to split all of your units so the Widow Mines don't get insane connections. A second tank is being added on now with more and more Marines. Heromarine maxed out, working on 3-3. It's not going to be done for a little while, though, so he's still going to have to pressure. Has cleaned up most of the creep on the right side here of this engagement, which will make it harder for Solar to find that kind of multi-pronged engagement coming from 2 angles. As, yeah, Heromarine just continuing to apply pressure. This Solar, yeah, hold position just to clear it up with the Hydras. Doesn't want to expend that many Banelings on that small group of Marines. And right now it's just a micro battle. Here we go. Blinding Clouds going down. 3 of the tanks get caught by it as they're just a little bit too close together. The Banelings roll on in. They're going to be able to clean up a lot of the Marines. And Solar completely crushes the 8 racks. He's going to take game number 1. I love looking at the backgrounds of the different players.
Yeah.
It's entertaining to see where they play. Because sometimes you know you got like Raynor, who was in like the attic, you know.
Yeah.
Back then, you have Heromarine here in the kitchen, Solar in the bedroom.
Oh, it's fantastic. So appearing into the lives of the pro gamers and seeing, oh, they are people. They're just humans.
And then you have someone like Geralt just in an empty room, you know, on
Yep.
EU.
Yep. Or
That was entertaining.
or what was it? Bunny on a tropical beach with a lot of creatures.
Yeah. Right next to the door. It's just like, yeah, no, this is my home. Don't worry about it, guys. This is where I live.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we're on to Data C, and I kind of mentioned it in the Clem versus a Laser series. This is a map that is better for Zerg, and we saw a Laser have an easier time in that game, even though Clem still managed to pull it out. You saw that just with how big the map is, it does take a lot for the Terran to get those units across. They need to have those, especially if you're going for multi-pronged pressure, you need to have it set up far ahead of time. You need to have units moving out constantly to be able to keep that up. And so I think it's more than likely that Heromarine probably doesn't repeat that 8 racks, and instead kind of goes into more of a late game setup with a 4 base. The 4 bases on this map are very easy to take. Once you get to 5 bases, that's when it starts to get a bit difficult, because then you're looking at these expansions that have multiple different attack paths, 2 if not 3, that the Zerg can try and collapse in from, especially once they get up to something like 6 bases and have this massive economy.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how much of the drone damage that Heromarine dealt in that previous game kind of gave way to his decision making to try and do the 3 base 8 racks. Yeah, maybe he just felt like, right, because that would make sense to me. As a player as Heromarine, he's like, okay, let me, you know, he goes over the facts, what's happened in this game. All right, then this build right here should be able to kill him. And yeah, maybe he just underestimated the overall drones he did kill, or perhaps the amount of drones that Solar squeezed out before those drone kills came into being.
Yeah. No, definitely. 2 more racks on the way here for Heromarine. This is not an early 3rd CC like we saw in the last game. This is actually interesting. Is this going to be 2 base? It's not something you see very often, but with the 3 racks being added on so early, it does lead me to believe that, yeah, that's a very early stim pack as well. This is interesting. Heromarine deciding to go for kind of this 2 base setup. You're not really going to get a 3rd command center with this. You are looking to apply a lot of pressure very early on. Viking even to clean up overlords to try and, you know, delay your opponent, supply block them just a little bit. Yeah, this
scouting
is
this as well, hopefully, right?
Yeah. I mean, this feels like definitely a build that someone like Beyond would do almost.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. He would definitely do this. I do very much appreciate the early on marine pushes from the Terrans. However, it feels somewhat low committal because it's not too difficult to trade okay with the marines, so well enough. If you don't just catch the Zerg off guard in the first place, right, and manage to stampede over a couple of queens and really have the Zerg bleed in this earlier game.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a build that if Solar's not ready can absolutely get so much damage done, and the Overlord was not able to scout those 2 racks. They were actually placed at the bottom side of the base. The Overlord was up in that dead airspace in the top right corner. The Viking. Very important that stays alive here to try and find more Overlords if possible. But Stim Pack is almost done, and there's going to be the Hellions here with this, 5 Marines at a time. The 3rd command center is added down. That's going to be as this push is coming out onto the map. Widow Mines as well being added on. It's 5 minutes, and we're going to have this drop out on the map. And it's all going to come down to this micro. How much damage can Heromarine get done? How big of a surprise is going to be? Well, right now, only 8 Zerglings in production. There's not a lot here for Solar. He will... I don't even know if he's actually going to get advanced warning. Those medevacs are going straight to the main.
Yep. It will be setting up Solar here with that Zergling, trying to figure out what's happening, but that's not the place for the Zergling to scout. So he realizes right now what is happening, in fact, and it's a little bit late for him, this information. Already having to evacuate his main base. The Spore Crawler going to get targeted down rather quickly.
Oh, Hellions!
Oh, wow, that's
massive move.
Whoa,
yeah,
look
12
at that,
going down. Oh, so close. Another shot almost goes off. Not quite. As Heromarine did pick up, but 12 workers going down is absolutely the damage that Heromarine was looking for. But mind you, he does need more. While that's great, 12 workers go down. Mind you, Heromarine is still on 2 bases. He's taking his 3rd, yes, but he needs to keep the pressure up so that Solar cannot just re-drone comfortably and get that, and pretty much negate that damage while not having to worry about building units. Now, Baneling's on the way for Solar. He is going to prepare for this bio. Heromarine, he's going to attempt to hit 2 locations at once, the 4th and the 3rd. And if he can, get a good amount of damage here onto this 4th. Great positioning here, trying to take this fight. He's going to have to pick up, go onto the high ground. Queens are there, though. Where's the 4th looking at, though? He's trying to focus it down. Widow Mines are here. Zergling's coming in just in time to be able to force the Marines back. Baneling is fine. No real connections, but Heromarine not able to get any more damage just yet.
Good working around those Widow Mines there from Solar as well. Defense taking significant damage onto his Zerglings and Banelings. Heromarine gets out of that with the majority of the Marines, so...
Still, though,
we're back at staring at each other.
I mean, it's 71 workers to 51. It's, Solar. Sure, you take that. Sure, you take that damage, but he's just been able to replenish his drone count with really no issue. And it's just such a big issue now for Heromarine. I wouldn't be surprised if now we just switch into a 3-base attack. Honestly. It really feels like that might be what you have to do. I mean, you're already getting this 2-base setup. Widow Mine's now burrowed towards the 4th base. Gabe also needs to deal with this run by, though, that's getting so much damage done. Has a few Marines there towards the 3rd, but the Queen's doing a good job just pushing this away. And the SCV line has just been cleaned out. 11 SCVs go down. The 3rd base has nothing there. As Solar's committing on in, the Marines fighting straight up. It's 1-1 versus 1-1. A great Widow Mine hit. The Baneling's still enough to push this back, as the Marine position is annoying to deal with, but it should eventually get cleaned up. Heromarine still trying to make this work, but I don't know, man. Solar right now is still just hasn't taken a lot of damage, and now he's producing more and more Zerglings.
Heromarine is slightly ahead in supply now. He's got 81 army supply versus 44. May not have looked like much, but he has been shaving off Zerglings one at a time, and he's been able to get those Marines to safety again over and over. It's gonna add up over time still, as now once again he is finding some more of those drones. With too many places being hit here, that Solar's feeling a little bit overwhelmed, perhaps.
Yeah, taking advantage of the medevacs. There's no real anti-air options yet available for Solar. 15 drones go down in total just with the drops into the natural, the third, and now the main. And Solar's supply drops drastically as he loses 18 drones, and that's the damage that Heromarine needed. He keeps up the pressure, finally gets a really good trade, and now we can bring forward the rest of his army. Now we can start to look to try and push down this 4th base location.
Yeah, this is a big old push. This is going to be quite a bit to work with for Solar here, as he's still preoccupied with that other drop on the top side. Oh, a few more Marines than he had anticipated that, perhaps. Widow Mines will be going into the ground. Scary places.
Link connections.
And, well, this might just be too much. This might be too much.
Yeah, the 4th is just gone. Solar realizes he can't fight that army, is now looking for a run by. Widow Mines don't find good connections. Ooh, the wall just raised in time. Solar not able to collapse on into that. And with the 4th base going down, it has been replanted essentially with the 5th base that was built. So Solar can just transition over there. But, I mean, for Heromarine, this is it. This was the damage. He finally got those kills on the drones with the drops. There was no anti-air available for Solar, and then takes that trade, knocks down a base, and suddenly he's in a position where this 3 base is not as bad. He still has time to add on a 4th. He can continue producing Marines, and it's not continuing to put him further behind.
Yeah. Yeah, finishing up here on the 2-2 upgrades for Heromarine as well, so tied up on Solar's account. Starts up that 3-3 for a potential gain later down in the future, but he's going to start being aggressive here on 2 fronts. A forked attack, trying to lure out the banelings at the top side and the bottom side. Ooh, Solar's there with plenty of boys.
Yeah.
Yep, that is a quick hurried retreat right there. That is all you can do in that moment.
Yeah, Heromarines cut workers, though. I mean, Marines, Marauders, Widow Mines, and Liberators, it feels like right now Heromarine is still, I mean, pretty all in off these 3 bases. He's not taking a 4th. He's not trying to expand his economy anymore beyond this position. He's just focusing on getting up as strong an army as possible. Infestation Pit on the way for Solar, though. And that does mean that you could get these Infestors out, and with no additional tech, you know, you don't have those ghosts available, so Infestors might get a lot done. This run by again. Just trying to deny the mining on this 3rd, and you find 8 SCVs, you back on up, and it's just keeping Heromarine, you know, at least it's keeping him on these 3 bases. It's not allowing that economy to snowball out of control for the Terran.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely what he needs to be doing right now. Those counterattacks extremely, I don't want to say lethal, but just of importance for the Zerg here to try and stay in this. Otherwise, that will just be an endless amount of Marines coming across, and it's just no stopping them eventually.
Oh, Solar. Good, I mean, good bait on the Widow Mines. They don't find decent connections. Now the Banelings rolling on through. The Marauder line just goes down, but kites back. And now the rest of the Banelings get blown up. Suddenly, Solar down 10 supply, needs to bring the rest of the units over, but that means his 5th base might just be under fire. The Banelings, though, come back in, find an amazing connection. Solar turns around that 2nd army to deal with that group of Marines that were going for the 5th. And Solar manages to salvage that play.
Attack about to be ready here for Solar as well. It would be a nice thing for him if he does manage to get himself a bit more technologically advanced. And that 3-3 upgrade, of course, as well, about to kick in for Heromarine. That's going to be there for a long time. Yeah. 2 Vipers. Could be a little bit of a difference maker. Unfortunately, most of the army of Heromarine is, of course, the Widow Mines, so a little bit less effective against that than if it were to be siege tanks. But against the Liberators as well, right? They're really good with those Hydras there. Otherwise, your Hydras just slowly die.
Yeah, Heromarine finally landing that 4th base, immediately transfers SCVs over to it. He's only sitting at 47 SCVs, but with a fresh mining base and the mules, will be enough to get his economy going. Solar now on 5 hatcheries. But as you said, that 3-3 versus 2-2, that's not going to change for a while. And that can be quite difficult for the Zerg to overcome. That upgrade difference as these Liberators just being annoying. 4th base denied. Oh, the Baneling connections.
Very
Absolutely destroy that army.
Just need to make some more Banelings though. I'm not sure how many he still has left, but it's always scary seeing just Zerglings in a clump without any Banelings nearby anywhere.
Yeah.
Right, remaking some of them. Lurker Den about to be ready with the Adrenal Glands as well. It's definitely going to be a bit of a power spike there for Solar at that point. Heromarine still got himself a bit of time to work with before those hits, and he is going to make the best of that.
Oh, no more Banelings. What is it going to be? I mean, Parasitic Bomb here onto the air units trying to clear up the Liberators and the Medivacs. The Zerglings actually trading extremely well despite the lack of Banelings. And Solar somehow turning this around. I mean, Heromarine had a massive army at one point here, and now he just needs to rebuild on these 4 bases.
So close on supply overall. It's quite impressive, really, how long we've been teetering around the same supply here for both players. As now a lot of Lurkers are going to be coming online for Solar with those upgrades as well already in the works. Heromarine needs to kind of continue along the same path, I would say, right? The Liberators, the Marauders here, going to be quite a powerful tool. And we'll have to see if he's going to set up for some Ghost usage in the later parts as well.
I mean, yeah, it's so hard. Heromarine has been focusing so much on this pressure, and he realizes it. He scans, he sees the Lurkers, and knows that Solar's tech is just so far ahead of him, and he just taps out. He knows there's no chance with what he has, and Solar gets the 2-0.